So, hello everybody. COVID-19, coronavirus, global pandemic, everybody's locked down. Most of the world is suffering right now, and photographers are certainly doing that as well. For an outdoor photographer and landscape photographer, there's probably nothing worse than being stuck on the edge of the Northmore National Park and not actually being able to go out there and do your normal photography. But all is not lost, so I'm going to go and try and use this as an opportunity, which is something I think all of us should be doing now if we can, and do something a little bit different. Now, a number of years ago, I decided it would be a great idea to try and do a little bit of garden photography. I'm particularly lucky, as you can see, I've got a fantastic garden to work in, and I'm very grateful for that. But you can, regardless of where you are, in whatever garden, yard, or whatever you have, you can do some photography outside. So today I'm going to start trying to do a little bit more wild bird photography in the garden. I'm going to take you through my setup. So I'm going to show you the equipment that I'm using. I'm going to show you a small hide that I'm going to make in the garden to make it comfortable for myself to do this. And I'm also going to show you the mini wildlife studio, whatever you want to call it, that I'm going to use as well. I'm going to give you a little bit of background knowledge on this first, because I tried this a few years ago and it wasn't very successful. Oh, and of course, what you've also got in your own back garden is coffee. Okay, so setup number two. Now, setup number two gets rid of the old nasty looking bird feeders and introduces a more natural setting. So now we've got an old branch which I cut down from a tree that we had, and dug a hole in the garden, sunk the tree into it, sunk the branch into it, supported it so it's upright, and did a few more modifications. So I drilled a few holes in it so I could put some feed in, and I've also sort of like hung a bird feeder on there to try and track them down. My girls have decorated it a little bit more since, and it's a bit more colourful than it was originally. So why didn't this work? Well, I think it's partly to do with its location. It's stuck in between two bushes or trees either side, and they give far better protection than any of these branches to the birds. So if you're going to come down and feed, what you're going to do is you're going to sit up on here, and then you're going to come down and grab something and fly away. Or you're going to go to the bigger bird feed table, which they know exists, which is just round the corner. So I don't think it really worked for those reasons. So today, what I'm going to do is we're going to use an old collection of wood that I've collected over the winter months to set something up much more elaborate, more in the middle of the garden. And I think what that will allow us to do is to make it so the birds have got to come down to it to get to the food down there. So I'm hoping that's going to work. And what we're also going to do at the other end of the garden is set up a hide, well, a makeshift kind of hide, with a seat and room for coffee and everything. You get these luxuries when you're working in your garden. And then I've got somewhere I can actually sit for a few hours quietly and just try and take some photographs. So that's not going to be today. The photography is going to take place possibly over the next few days to give the birds a chance to get used to the feed of being in the garden and build up a little bit of traffic, shall we say, through the set that we're going to create. So, okay, time to go and create some stuff. So, like a lot of people's gardens, we've got chairs, we've got fire pits, and all kinds of things that you probably wouldn't maybe necessarily want to use in wild bird photography. But that's okay, because we can use all these things in the garden because they're quite natural to the birds anyway. So they're not going to really worry about the fact that somebody's put a deck chair or something out. It's going to be something that we can quite happily use. But what I've also got, which you may not have in lots of people's gardens, is I've got some plastic chairs and some old camouflage netting which we're going to use as well. So this area here, I'm going to set it up and actually use it as a hide. I may even use the umbrella and put the net over the top just to break me up a little bit so the birds can't see me, and then I can actually use the table and sit in that area as well and use that to take my photographs. I have absolutely no idea whether or not this will work. It looks a bit of a mess, but I guess it doesn't really have to do anything more than just break up my own form and shape a little bit and disguise me, just so that I'm sat there. It's not like garden birds aren't used to seeing people. I just need to sort of use this to hopefully put myself in the position so that I can get in behind here with the camera, and then maybe, all being well, I should be able to get in behind, sit down, maybe get down fairly low, get a lens out through underneath here or up above one of these other areas, and use that to shoot through. So we'll set some camera stuff up later on, but what I want to do first, I want to actually set up and use the set up the set, should I say, for what I'm going to do. So we'll have a look at that next. So I have managed over the last sort of like few months, as the sort of winter winds and storms etc. have taken their toll on the garden, to pick up and collect some of the wood that we've got. So this here is effectively dead wood that's sort of like fallen and rotten and come down during the winter, and I'm going to try and fashion this into some sort of setup so the birds can come down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this almost central in my garden. We're going to use a few wood screws just to try and attach some of the bits together, so hopefully it doesn't all sort of like fall apart and disappear everywhere. And then we're going to drill some holes in it and use those holes so we can actually put some bird feed in it and attract the birds down into it. So, okay. So the area that I've chosen in the garden is pretty much central. It's right down here in the open. There's plenty of space around it. It's good view down the middle of the garden from the hide. It's a reasonable distance from the background, so I'm hoping with a small aperture on a 150 to 600 mm lens that I should be able to blow that out of focus and it'll look pretty good. We'll have to check that when we set it up with the camera. Now I'm going to try and make this setup so that it's sort of held together, but I can move it around a little bit. The reason I want to put it here is because there's plenty of trees all the way around, so there's plenty of perching points, but there's nowhere really close that the birds can go to. So if I put the feed down in this area, hopefully the birds will come down to this to feed, and we can get some pictures here as well. This area as well is also sheltered from the sun early in the morning. It's starting to get a little bit of sun up here now, but it should give me a good few hours when we're in a reasonable amount of shade, because I don't really want really bright, harsh sunlight. I don't want to lose the detail on the bird's feathers. I don't want the wood and the lighter areas of the scene to blow out. So I don't want to deal with any of those nasty highlights. So I'm going to set it up in a relatively shaded area, and we'll see what we can do. So let's get the wood. Okay, so I think we're kind of set. Now I have got a number of different feeds and things which I can put down. So what I'm going to do is that this is ideal for it. We've got plenty of different little places here where we can put some seeds and bits and pieces and just try and bait the birds into the area. But what I'm going to do to help with that is I'm going to drill a few holes out of sight really, so sort of along this edge, so that you won't be able to see where they are, but the birds will be able to pick them up and feed off them as well. So that's the idea. So we need to get some holes in up here around the back and some different places, and hopefully the birds will come down to feed. They'll perch on here and we'll be able to pick them off as they come into these various areas. The idea is that we don't see the seed in the actual picture. Okay, so I think we're done for now. Next bit will be set up some camera equipment and see what pictures we can take tomorrow. Hello, good morning. Say it's cold, it's a bit of an understatement, but luckily I've managed to get some coffee before we start. Now, the photographs and the bits which you're going to see next are taken using the setup that we put together yesterday, but it's going to be spread out over the next 3 to 4 days. So it's Tuesday now. So I'm going to be out here taking photographs Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and putting the whole video and everything together on the Friday and ready to release it for the weekend. So I'm going to roughly try and do it in chronological order so that the pictures that you see first will be the ones from today, hopefully, and then going down through. Now I'm going to put a few bits of pieces to camera and descriptive text in between. But what is becoming really apparent is it's very difficult to try and vlog and do wildlife photography at the same time. So I'm not quite sure it's going to go. So I might have to do some voiceover pieces over some of the photographs and explain exactly what's going on and what I did. And that's simply because I can't work 2 cameras at the same time. The video quality might change slightly because I'm going to switch between using the 7D, which I'm filming on now, and my iPhone so that I can work without moving around too much and setting things back up. So hopefully we're going to get some pictures today, and then during the course of the week we'll take some more as well. So let's see what we can find. Okay, so it's been about an hour now, and just had our first customer, a little female blackbird, which came down almost in front of me, to be honest. Little learning point that I've just picked up, because I'm new to doing this, and that is that if you just look on the screen there now, you can see how the bird's feet are cut off. What I've worked out is that the fact that I'm focusing on the bird's head to get it nice and sharp is that I've got the center point focus switched on, so obviously everything's going to be low in the frame. It's kind of obvious when you think about it. So I've just moved to use the top zone of my focus now. So the next pictures I take, I will be focusing up around here, and then up around here, and then the bird will be higher up in the frame, and I should get more of the bird in. So it's just a matter of waiting now and hoping something else comes up. Well, good morning, guys. It's day 3, and I'm getting a little bit concerned because I have to be honest, I'm yet to have actually photographed taken a photograph that I like. So I get a little bit worried now because it's Thursday and I've got to finish all the video editing tomorrow. I processed some of the pictures of blackbirds yesterday. Those were relatively good. One of them I quite like, so I'm using that one. As of yet, the ones I took yesterday, the blue tits, were a little bit too blurred. Worked out the birds actually. Hang on, wait, there's another one yet. Quite quick on this now. Gone. It'll be really quick because they move so fast, and that's part of the problem because the light's quite low early in the morning. As a landscape photographer, I'm really afraid to push the ISO up really high, so I'm not sure how far I can push it and get a sharp picture, but the picture's got to be sharp, so we're going to see what we can get away with. At the moment, because I'm at 600mm, I'm only shooting f6.3, I'm getting 1/250th of a second, ISO 3200, so, you know, it's not great, which is good. I seem to be getting more used to it. Just taking some photographs of some blue tits again. I changed something this morning. I put an area down there where they can get some more water to drink if they need to. And I've put more seed down. I've put a little platform where I can put some seed on. And I've also drilled out the centre of one of the upright branches and I've filled that with seed as well. They seem to be coming down to pick things up. So we've just had a robin visit. Robins are really common birds in the British Garden. So if you're not from the UK, then you may not know what I'm on about. But yeah, robins are really quite common. I keep looking back because actually it's quite busy this morning. With the robin, blue tit, blackbirds have already been down, and it's working quite well. I think it might be just that they're used to this being here now and recognise it's a feeding station. So I'm hoping that actually, although it's day 3 and I was starting to think, crikey, I'm not going to get the images that I need to complete this video, things are looking a little bit more hopeful this morning. So, good morning. This is day 4 now. So realistically, this is my final morning, if not definitely final day, of sitting out here taking the photographs. It's got to be that way because I made a commitment to release a video tomorrow, or certainly on the weekend. So I've got a lot of editing to do. I've already processed some of the images. I kind of wish in some ways I hadn't decided this was going to be the last day, but there's other things I need to move on to. So the only reason I say that is I would like to add a little bit more variety, really. We've had robins, male, female, blackbirds, and blue tit come down. So it would have been nice to have had different few varieties of different types of tit family. It would have been nice to have possibly had a nuthatch or something make an appearance, and I was really, really looking forward to trying to see some jays come down, which I know all are in the area, but it just hasn't happened. But let's see what we get this morning, and all being well, we'll get some photographs. I don't know if I just got this picture or not, but you know I was saying about a nuthatch? We've just had a nuthatch. We might just get a little bit more variety. So yeah, back to the nuthatch again. The nuthatch came in really, really quick. Perched for a few seconds, grabbed some feed, darted off, and then came back in again. Now I've seen them do this before on the other main feeder where they dart in and out, so I daren't take my eyes off my setup because I don't want to miss them. The only problem is, at this time of the morning, the light levels are still quite low. So I'm shooting at about 12,000 ISO. Very, very high. But if I let my shutter speed go too low, the movement of the birds will just mess it up anyway. We'll see. Well, the nuthatch has proven to be a frequent visitor this morning. He's come down about 3 times in the end, allowing me to have a number of attempts at getting different photographs. As I've got a few in the bag already for him last time, what I decided to do was to slowly start reducing the ISO, reduce the shutter speed a little bit, which brought the ISO down. So hopefully the last set of photographs that I took might have a little bit less digital noise, a little bit better quality. But what's important with this sort of photography, in my opinion, is to get the photograph first and worry about the quality afterwards. Because with photography you're capturing moments, and moments disappear very, very quickly. So it's very important to get that one quick image in the bag, and then you know that from there on in, whatever happens, you've recorded that moment, and if you can improve on it, then that's fantastic. And if you don't, okay, maybe a little disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. So guys, I think that's probably going to be about it for day 4. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the photographs that I've shown. I hope the information in the videos have been useful, and if you have enjoyed the video, then please give it a thumbs up, and I'll be delighted if you could put something in the comments. Of course, I'm also delighted with everybody who follows my channel and subscribes, so please don't forget to subscribe, and if you do, hit that bell icon so you get the important updates. And most of all, stay safe and enjoy your photography.